A very warm evening to all of you who have gathered here. It means a lot to us actually, because on this forum we are meeting people from several parts of our life, our friends, our relatives, people from the passionpreneur community, and several others have joined, and we would like to express our gratitude for taking time and deciding to be a part of our big day today. So thank you for joining. And in this session today, we have a lot of things planned. So be excited and thrilled to stay till the end. So we have our guest speaker as well, Mr. Mohinish, who will be joining in. So he's so much passionate about transforming lives. He has been a leader as well, and he's a very good friend of ours, a mentor and a guide, basically. So that's about it. And we would like to express our gratitude once again to all of you who have joined here. Uh, so, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Suganya Sridharan, author of the book You and Your Teen's Career Makeover, co-founder Mindful Career Parenting, and a data quality engineer by profession.
Yeah. So I'm Prasad, and I am also a co-founder of Mindful Career Parenting and co-author of this book, You and Your Teen's Career Makeover. And helping teenagers and their parents is my passion. But apart from that, I also work as a management consultant by profession. So before we dive into the session, a warm welcome to each and every one of you, and a heartful gratitude for making time to join and celebrate this occasion with us. So welcome to one and all. Um, Before getting into the details, let me ask you a question. How many of you have heard of students who are preparing for JEE and NEET exam? This has become a common trend these days. And especially in some schools, it's the trainings are starting from standard 7, 8. And the main reason for that is, I mean, will any parent think of putting their children in so much stress unnecessarily? Will any parent want to see their children go through that kind of struggle, like getting up early in the morning, going for training sessions, and then school, and then again tuition centers, and then coming up, preparing for exams? Would any parent want their child to go through like this? Definitely not, but it is happening and it is becoming more and more common and accepted by parents. And the main reason for that is parents are not aware of how to find the right career choices for their teenagers or how to guide them to find the right career choices for teenagers. While that is happening on one hand, it's also happening on the other side that still parents and teenagers want to choose maths biology in science stream because they can decide between computer science and doctor later, or the decision between science and commerce stream is driven by the marks they score in standard 10. So these are some of the traditional practices that we are following and we continue to follow without even realizing will that help our teenagers in the future. While this is happening from the parents' perspective, let's look at what teenagers are going through. I have interacted with close to 100 parents, and 95% of them say that 1 month it is profession X, the next month it is profession Y, like digital marketing. The third month it is engineering. The fourth month it is entrepreneurship. So teenagers keep changing their career preferences, and that too is happening very often. And imagine this kind of situation where things keep changing, especially a decision which will determine how their life is going to be. And parents are in complete confusion, teenagers are in complete stress, and this is also because they are not able to figure out the right career choices. So I've been talking a lot about this, but let's also hear from some parents.
We all know that we have to talk with our teenagers in a nice way. We have to let them choose. But how? It's our duty. Every parent's dream is to have their kids, their teenagers in the future happy and successful. But how?
Every day she used to come with different opinions. Okay, today, seeing a doctor, she used to say, I want to become a doctor. One day she saw a teacher and she wanted to become a teacher. One day she saw a Tamil teacher taking Tamil classes and she wanted to become a Tamil lecturer. So it was varying from day to day. So I thought, what is going to be her future? How is she going to take this forward? And how is she going to end up in her life? And this was our biggest problem.
It was more around, like, if you read an article or you meet a person and if he's into something and you find that exciting, oh yes, that's what I want to do.
ஒரு கன்ஃபியூஸ்ட் ஸ்டேஜ்ல இருந்தா நாங்களும் ஒரு கன்ஃபியூஸ்ட் ஸ்டேஜ்ல இருந்தோம். என்ன அப்படின்னா சோ அவனுக்கு என்ன செட் ஆகும் அப்படிங்கறது தெரியாம நாங்களும் கன்ஃபியூஸ் ஆயிட்டு இருந்தோம். அவனுமே அதுல ஒரு கன்ஃபியூஷன் இருந்தது.
So did you hear what parents are saying and how many of you are able to relate to this? If you're a parent of a teenager or a soon to be teenager, are you also in a similar situation? I can see some of you nodding your heads. Yes, and this is the biggest challenge which many parents are facing. And to help parents overcome this challenge,
we all know that
we started this movement where we want to make career planning meaningful for teenagers and simple for their parents. Lot of confusion, lot of, like, even teenagers feel like, why am I going through this process? Like, why am I getting different opinions from different relatives, teachers, friends, and parents? At the same time, parents are not able to keep up the pace in terms of new career options evolving. And because of all these things, it has been made a complex one. And what we are doing is simplifying that. We are trying to make it more meaningful by engaging the teenagers and making it more simple for their parents by bringing both of them together and helping them develop their career choice. And this is our movement, and this is who we are, Sugi and Prasad. And the name of our movement is Mindful Career Parenting. I also want to share quickly about what's our vision. So as I said, when we started this movement, we want to be very clear on what we want to achieve and what's going to be our mission. So we started with that. And our vision is every aspiring teenager who are in our vicinity builds the right foundation to shape their career by choice and not by circumstances. And this is a key word we want to call career by choice and not by circumstances. And this could be any circumstance driven by external or internal factors. And while doing that, they're able to shine with success and fulfillment in their future. And our mission is to transform 22 million teenagers to discover and nurture their fulfilling career by choice by enabling their parents to be their mindful career guides. So here the key is what's happening today is the responsibility is either pushed to the parents if the teenagers don't have the clarity, or in some scenarios, the responsibility is pushed to the teenagers saying that you're not clear, you don't have clarity, you're not paying attention to this. And that is definitely not helping us to do what we want to do. So therefore, our mission is to bring together the parents and the teenagers and come up with a process that will help them to determine their career choices so that they are working as one in embarking that journey. So that's our vision and that's our mission. But you may ask, like, why are we even doing this? So I just want to share a brief story of why we started doing this. So I think I'll have to take you all to my childhood days. So when I was very young, I come from a very humble middle class family, and our family's financial status was not that good compared to our relatives, and that becomes a reason for all our relatives to humiliate our parents in many occasions. So there have been moments where I used to fear when my parents come back after attending those occasions and share those stories where they were not given the due respect or they were humiliated for some reason. So that's when the need for me to gain respect has actually gone into my, I would say, every cell of my body. And with that need, I really thought, how do I do it? And at that age, what I could figure out is doing best in my academics and extracurriculars. So I used to get good marks, in fact, rank one in all the academic exams and do well in extracurriculars. And that actually gave me some quick wins. So definitely my family members started recognizing my talent and contributions. And therefore, I just continued on that path, did my best in undergraduation, became the gold medalist and best outgoing student. Then I got into a dream job. Again, I couldn't stop there. So I prepared for MBA and I got into IIM Ahmedabad. And after that, I want to get into consulting, which I did. And by then, actually, that respect is something came to me naturally, and I could feel that. So therefore, my need for that has been met. However, since it was ingrained in my DNA, I continue to operate in that way. So during my initial years, some of my leaders from my career are here, so they would be able to relate to it. So during my initial years, I used to stretch and do my best so that I'm able to grow faster. But then after getting into that state, I felt that something is missing in my life. I couldn't feel that I'm enjoying really what I'm doing. And the profession also demanded a lot from me. And I had to start thinking whether am I really doing something that is really worthy of the effort that I'm putting in my profession. And while this question was going on, there's one particular incident which happened. And I was actually traveling from my home to Bangalore airport to board a flight. And because of the consulting profession, we used to travel a lot. And this is one particular Monday when I had to travel. When I was in my when I was actually in the car, I dozed off, like how I do every time. But then suddenly I saw the car was shaking, and it was actually the driver also slept, and he had to, by unconsciously or out of mind, he had to just bang the car against the divider. And for like 50 meters, it was just moving on the divider. And that's when I realized that it was shaking. And after that, it had to just move to the other lane or the opposite direction. And then just like it was just rounding and all those things happened. I was completely out of my mind. And this is the Bangalore highway to the airport. So you could imagine the cars, how at what speed they were approaching us. And so suddenly, like everybody saw us and they stopped their cars. I got down, and what I did was, I did not go and check the driver. I did not realize anything. All that was running in my mind was, will I miss my flight? Will I miss my client meeting? What is going to happen? So I immediately took the bag. I just crossed the other side of the road. I basically asked for help, and one car stopped. So I boarded the car along with other passengers, and then I left to the airport. I reached the airport on time. I could board the flight, but then after boarding the flight, I was not able to sit at peace. Something was disturbing a lot because I am not a person who doesn't care about others. I've always been a person who cares about others. But in that moment, more than caring about the driver, more than caring about ensuring that things are normal in that situation, my focus was more on reaching the airport, reaching the client, going to the client meeting and not missing out anything on that. That thought actually disturbed me. And it was not my usual myself. That is where I realized that because of me being in that situation again and again, I'm changing as a person. And that realization actually shook me. And I realized that this is not the way I would like to live the rest of my life. I need to shift, I need to change. And that is how I started working on my career. And when I moved to working on that, we realized that a lot of things needs to be done. We learned about career portfolio, and that's why we wanted to experiment. We came up with new strategies, new principles, and we are right now very happy. And I am actually able to create a lot of impact. So just to connect, impact was missing in my earlier work. Like though I was going to client locations and everything, what's the real impact that I'm making? I was not able to connect with that. So then I figured out that this is something I want to do, help teenagers not make the mistakes that I did in career and guide them to live a successful and fulfilling life. And that's how we started this mindful career parenting. That's my story. But since we are two, her story is different. So let's hear from her.
Yeah. So rewinding back to the year 2013, so that was when I actually kicked off with my career. So when I got into the job, I was not able. So now I realize then I was not able to distinguish between what was a career and what was a profession. So that was the mind state then for me. So I kicked off with my job. It went on. I was acquiring a lot of skills, talents, and everything. Parallelly, behind the scene, I was acquiring one other talent, which was nothing but switching companies. So in my 9 years of experience in this corporate sector, so I have shifted between 4 companies, and 5th company I'm currently working with. So what was happening is I started feeling a crisis situation. I wouldn't call it a mid-career crisis because I was in the very early stage of my career when I decided to shift. So I was somewhere feeling a sense of voidness, some vacuum, some sense of dissatisfaction with the role, feeling monotonous and things like that. And one quick solution that appeared in front of my mind every time I felt such a feel, every time I sensed such a feel was, it's better to switch because the project is not good, the engagement is not happening, or the company itself is not good, the work culture is not aligning with my mindset, and so many other stuff. But when Prasad was able to relate with so many other symptoms, I was blindly connected to him because whatever he was finding as a concern in his career was more relatable with me also. So instead of identifying what is the root cause that is making me switch each time, I was actually making a temporary fix, and I decided, okay, if I shift my company, I'll be okay. If I shift my company, I'll be okay. So that's what I was doing. So this has been happening so far, and when I thought through so much about it, let me go even more. Let me rewind even more a bit. And I hail from a very upper middle class family. Both of my parents are educated, so they have given me support. There were no restrictions and everything. But when it came to guiding our careers, or when it came to navigating us to decide on a better future, they did not do what they were supposed to do. So that has led me here. That's what I realized. And when we were able to relate very much closely with each other, we decided this should not happen to our child. So that was the first thought that came to our mind. Our child should not face the situation. She should be clear enough in her decisions. And that thought broadened, and we decided it is not just our child, it is all the children who should not face such a crisis situation. And every decision should be thought through, and it should be a career that is made by choice and not by circumstance. So that's how we ended up with mindful career parenting, and that's how mindful career parenting evolved.
Yeah. So that's how it all started. But the hero of the session today is our book. So we will have to definitely move to that now. Before I do that, there are a couple of things or announcements that I want to make. So the first announcement is, first of all, thank you for joining this session, but also let's have some fun during this session. So during this session, at any point of time, capture one moment which connected with you so much. You can either pin us and capture, or if you want to take all the participants together, you can capture that as well. But take one capture and we will tell you what to do towards the end of the session. And it's going to be a surprise, not a simple one, but it's going to be a big one. So let's do that. Okay. So the next one is also what we want to do is make it a little more engaging. Don't want this to be a very monotonous discussion. So therefore, any questions that you have, put it on the chat. We will pick up those questions and then we will discuss. But what we have also done to add a little more fun to this is we have put our questions, like I have put some questions for Suganya and Suganya has put some questions for me. So we have it here. So during the session, we'll just pick these questions and answer for you. And these questions are mostly related to our experience while authoring this book. Sounds good? Exciting? Great. So now let's move to the hero of the session today, which is our book. So before we start, Suganya, I want to ask you one question.
Yeah.
So why did we even write this book?
Okay. Why did we even write this book? So, see, I have one thought which always keeps running inside my mind. Okay. God always forgives the incapable and lazy, but God does not forgive those who are capable and lazy. So we fall under the second category. So with all those potential, we wanted to reach huge masses. We still want to reach huge masses. And we were thinking of that one weapon that can help us reach huge masses and build that authority so that people open up and listen to us. So when we were thinking of these, when we were thinking from these lines, one thought kept striking our mind. So even after we leave the world, there should be there should be the thought, there should be the wisdom and knowledge that should keep existing. So that is the book. So even when we leave the world, the book will keep adding value, it will keep adding wisdom, it will keep adding knowledge, and it will still make the readers feel our presence. And that's when we decided on this book. And the book is You and Your Team's Career Makeover.
So that was very interesting, but shall we show the first look of our book to
I'm
all?
excited.
Great. So let me share my screen. Are you all excited? Okay, so here we on the career choices. And now, since you all have seen the book, we just want to take a moment to unwrap a physical copy that we have with all your support, blessings, and well wishes. So here we have the book. It's just in front of us. We are going to unwrap this. Let's do that.
Yeah, let's do it together.
Okay. So actually, our daughter is sitting here and she's watching all what we are doing. So she's just 3 years old. And this is how she has been doing all the time. Like whenever we work on this, whenever we take session, so she'll be just sitting here. So say hi.
She's also all ready and geared up for the session. Say hi, Jeetu. Say hi. Hi.
So finally, we have our book. So this is the copy of our book. And this is actually the first copy which we received from the publications. So feeling really great, proud to hold our creation, which is ready to create a movement and help parents and teenagers. So, and in this moment, we want to thank each and every one of you. Many of you have helped us. We have worked with some of you. We have guided your teenager and we are still working with some of you. All of those experiences has helped us to shape this book. So thank you so much. With that, shall we pick up some questions?
Yes, yes. I think we have some questions in the chat.
Let's check. Or if there are no questions, if you have something for us, we will take that. There's one question. Yeah, okay. So there's one question from Rana, which is, does your book and mission help kids only to explore career and academic, or it's also about the talents and skills and everything that you have? So the simple answer is our book focus on a holistic career. In fact, what we call is a career portfolio. In definitely teenagers, like gone are those days when being in one profession for life is the scenario. Our teenagers do not want that. Basis our interactions, they are looking for more flexibility. They are looking for more choices, even not only at the early stage, but even as they go through this journey. So therefore, as I said, I'm still working. I'm doing this out of my passion. Likewise, Sugunya is working. She is doing this out of this passion. We are authors. We also go to schools and deliver keynote speeches. And these are all have been found basis our interest, our skills. So likewise, what we are helping teenagers is to look at different elements, not just purely academic, also look at the different skills, different interests that they have, and how can they build a career portfolio. So that's something we have also explained in our book. So if you want to know more, please get a copy and definitely I'm sure it's going to answer. So we will, I mean, conscious of time, we have received few more questions, but we will address them as we move forward. But let's just take one question from what we have for each one of us.
Okay. Yeah.
So the okay.
I don't know if it is visible. So the question is, how did you come up with the book title? So deciding on the title of the book was the most difficult part of authoring this book, You and Your Teen's Career Makeover, because we had almost completed the book, but we could not decide on the title. So every night, every day, it will be like we used to pick a word and then try to figure out a title in and around it. So one night we decided, so we are not going to sleep before we decide the title for this book. And that's when we were thinking, and finally we decided on this word, makeover. So this was the first word from the title that we figured out. And then we decided to build a title around it. And that's how You and Your Teen's Career Makeover evolved. It was like close to 2 months we stumbled upon deciding on the book's title. And finally, one night it happened.
Yeah, I still remember that night. We were sitting in a similar place, like exactly the same place. We were so confused with so many options. And finally, we said, okay, let's just keep a deadline and then let's just focus on and figure that out. So it was a great experience. So thanks for sharing. Now,
we have some questions there.
no, let's continue and
Okay,
then we'll come and
yes,
take those
yes.
questions, because our guest speakers here, I don't want to keep him waiting because he's a very special person for me and for us.
Yes.
Let me tell you why. So he's actually passionate about helping individuals become a better version of themselves, and he is an expert in doing that among corporate leaders. He is a leadership coach, and he has, I would not be able to even tell the number of experience that he has in this field. I actually got a chance to work with him during my consulting days. And like we used to, I mean, I used to be the organizer of those workshops because I was in the initial stages of my career, and he used to be the facilitator. And although, I mean, basically adding value to all the participants and especially at the leadership level. So I used to just go, and every moment he talks, people will be like, wow. And not only participants, I'll also be sitting at the back and then I'll be like, wow, how is he able to talk all these things, connecting different pieces, different thoughts? And in fact, I asked him, like, while we were coming back on a cab, I mean, I'm talking a lot more things about cab because in consulting, you spend half the time sitting in cab, aeroplane. So that's why most of my experiences are in cab. So I was actually asking this question to him, like, how do you know so many things and you're able to get it spontaneously at that moment and then share it and then actually create an impact which people, not just for that moment, but it impacts them for life. Like some of them have had significant transformations. So then he said, like, during the initial few years of his career, he realized that he needs to constantly upskill. He needs to focus on his self-development so that he's able to add value to others and impact their lives. And that is where I first got to know about self-development. And that is where I first actually saw the importance of self-development. And that is the main reason why I thought it would be great to have him here on this call and have a brief interaction with us. So he is Monish Sinha. He's still working as a partner in one of the big four consulting firms. And the other reason is when we started this journey, when I moved from consulting to this, initially when we were posting contents in social media, many times he was the first person to react. He was the first person to message us and express that, yes, whatever we are doing is valuable, whatever we are sharing is actually going to help. And that encouraged us because I've already always seen him as an inspiration in that space. And those words coming from him meant a lot to us. And there have been days where we were jumping when we got a message from Monish. So he's so special, he's so inspiring. So without further delay, I'm very honored and glad to welcome him. Yes, I just.
Hi.
Hi, Monish.
Hi. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me, and congratulations, Sudhanya and Prasad. This is just amazing, right? You've written a book, and I must confess, I've been trying to write one for many years, and I haven't got anywhere near it. So well done. So you are an inspiration to me to do something about that. So thank you for inviting me here.
It means a lot to us, Manish. Thank you so much.
And I know how busy
Thank
you are, Monish. The moment when I asked you, you immediately said yes to this. And I actually didn't think it would be that easy. I thought I need to influence. In fact, we were talking about what do we say to ensure Monish is there on this session. But you immediately accepted, and we are really grateful for that. And thanks for this opportunity. So I just wanted to, ask few things because you have also crossed you have unique combination of situations. So you have crossed as a father and you have guided your daughters on their career journey. At the same time, you interact with so many corporate leaders and you'd have seen them also, some of them happy, some of them not so happy with their career choices. So therefore, it's going to be an interesting conversation. But the first thing that I want to ask you is, what is the role of parents in guiding their teams on their career choices?
You said it. In fact, I must tell you that I discovered this challenge not because I struggled with my two daughters who are now, of course, both adults now. But I discovered in the course of work when I was coaching executives. So I would be called, as many of you would be familiar, would be called by organizations to coach very successful people and help them grow in their career. And there's one specific example that happened about 15 years ago. And then I discovered that pattern everywhere. And this example was that it's a very successful FMCG multinational company. The executive was being groomed for a global role, and I was called in to say, "Look, she's so good. I think you should invest some time in, helping her prepare for the future role, etc." And the day I landed to meet her, that day there was an announcement that came that she's been elevated to Asia Pacific role, which was everybody was walking into a room and congratulating. I mean, it was big as it gets, right? And then everybody went out, and I was just sitting with her, and I saw a bit of a tear in her eye. So maybe I thought she was just very happy and very emotional. And that's when we got talking, and she said something that stunned me really. And what she said was, "But you know what? I don't want this promotion. I don't want to become an AP leader." And she said, "All my life, all I did was just follow what my dad wanted me to. So my dad wanted me to get into IIT. I did that. She wanted me to get into an IIM. I did that. I got a job on day zero or whatever is the metric of an MBA. I did that. I got in the best company that typically an FMCG used to be the most sought after. So I got into that. And I've been doing really well. But I must tell you, not a single day I spent that I felt it was my time, or is it what I want to do?" And as a classical situation, a coach, you get a choice. What do you do? Because your organization wants you to, and this is some years ago, so I got not learned how to manage that. The story turned out very positive, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But it took me to a place where I said, "Hey, you know what? This can't be an isolated, rare person." So I did go around looking at my coaches, and talking to fellow other coaches and say, "Look, tell me who those are." And there are a bunch of people, not everyone, but there are a bunch of people aged between 35 to 45, are stuck in a paradigm where they are following a pattern of life. And here is a thing that defines them. They find very little anchor around why they do what they do, right? And at this age, they have figured out alternate ways to kind of live their life, etc. But one thing that I have found consistent in this group of people is that they have perhaps stopped understanding what is the real voice inside. You talk about in your book about passion, right? Many of them have forgotten what that feeling is or what gives them joy. In fact, in few of my coaches, I've had to say, go to nature, go for a walk, go for a hike, right? Something you haven't done before. Just spend time alone and see how that goes and reconnect with that. But that's what it feels like, that they have lost the connect with their own deeper voice. And they have all the skills, by the way. I must point out, right? They are damn good in business. They take great decisions. They, all those competencies that we HR folks kind of talk about, they take all of them. But it's not driven by something that they would truly find joy in. The good news is that many of them, and there is a fair amount of the study as well, that quite a few are finding ways to find shifts in career in their late stage in the 40s, and finding something that gives them joy, and weaving their skills along with it and finding out a whole different path to that. So the reason for the long sort of preamble was the relevance and importance of what you have talked about, because all that you spoke about is what is needed if we had it at our disposal at that time, and if our parents created that environment, right? Literally, they have to just create an environment. They're a bit like gardener, right? They just put us in a garden where all this is available to us. As children, we would have tried few things, and I figured out 2 or 3 things are very important in my experience. But but as parents, create that garden where children can explore some of these dimensions and then discover their own way, because they all want to be successful. They all want to be joyful and happy.
That's a very, very relatable story and very key thing, because it's not just the struggles during early years of profession. It's also carried forward till like become the leaders. And thankfully, we realized and we made that shift. We both of us. So thanks for sharing that, Monish. Great story. So that actually comes to the next question. So what the young professionals are missing today? Like some of us are realizing this and making this shift, but I still see many like who have shared similar emotions with me are still continue to do that, and that's something that's stopping them. So what are some of the things that actually young professionals do, which is making them to continue doing that, which the teenagers should learn now?
Yeah. So I think and this is again my experience, because I see this as patterns set in the early years. Um, so and many of you are executives and working in different environments. As we become older and older, we hold on to more complex jobs. Our essential job is to be able to take decisions in an environment which is unknown, we haven't dealt with before, right? And we have to take people behind us. We have to be able to invest behind our choices, etc. So it needs high quality decision making. And I realized that many of the executives who struggle with it are people who are uncomfortable with the unknown, right? They are very uncomfortable with the sense of ambiguity, right? So they actually, it's a whole different saga, and it's another podcast perhaps on how organizations sort of are, or leaders are scared about ambiguity, right? And therefore they don't push boundaries. But that's a topic for another season. But if you look at the root of comfort with ambiguity, it actually builds in teenage years, or teen years, right? Um, Second, if you look at the ability to connect with people, right, with people very different from you and me, or any one of us, that ability to really not just say hi, hello, or to be able to really hold a conversation, to be able to really understand each other. Again, it goes back. You can't sort of show up at 30 or 28 and start sort of, or even at 40, right, to start becoming this person. It's not a introversion, extroversion issue. It's an issue of being able to connect, hear, understand, relate with people. And the third element, which I think is equally very important, is able to listen to your voice, right? Or listen to your that small voice that speaks to you in a very, very different way. It happens very early on. As a child, we hear it and listen to it. We learn to trust it. We use that to be able to judge the world. But sometimes, because of the pressure of demand of a certain performance, a certain right or a wrong way of doing, we become unmoored or disjointed or disconnected with that voice. That voice is very powerful. I mean, in fancy language, we call that the self-awareness. But that voice tells us, hey, I like this or I don't. That voice needs to be trained a bit. So you need to learn how to ask great questions, powerful questions, real questions. Real, when I say, is a question that you will ask a question genuinely without sort of knowing the answer already, right? So asking a question that I don't know the answer of. So these three things that I've found have roots in childhood, and certainly in the teen years. So if I were to summarize in an order of priority, the first is the self-awareness, but listening to that voice. That is the root to understanding my passion, what gives me excitement, because hidden below that excitement is the jewel of my passion. What is it really I do? The second being to be able to learn to put myself in challenging situations, and by design. So really putting myself, go and speak in public as a child, right? Go and write something creative, even if I don't think I am creative, but let me try that. And there are a host of challenging situations without putting yourself at a physical risk that children need to get into. And the third being able to connect. I mean, these three I've seen, their roots are very early on in our life, and it shows up as the defining element in the leaders, which is very difficult to be trained, very difficult to be coached around as well. They have to work much harder. It's much harder to change in 40s and the 50s, right? Which is where the executive try and change, and organizations send people like me after them saying, "Oh, help them." Well, I won't say it's too late. Human beings are amazing that way. But if you start early, you would find and discover an amazing person who's your child, who would live a very fulfilling life.
That's a very interesting perspective, Monish, I should say. And to be frank, when we started researching about what a career actually is, and that's when you would have seen in our book as well, our framework focuses not just on picking that career. It's about the mindset, it's about the character, like you said, relationship building, mental toughness. So we focus on those kind of foundations of character. At the same time, we help them from their mindset perspective as well. Because a teenager may want to become a scientist, but somehow their self-image says that I'm not able to see myself like Dr. Abdul Kalam. So therefore, I don't want to do it, even though I'm passionate about it. So we try to help them to overcome those kind of challenges as well. And therefore, I'm able to completely relate to what you said. So thank you so much for bringing that perspective. And I can clearly see the dots connecting. So my last question to you is, you have read a book. What was that thing? And you read a lot. I know you read so many books. So what was that one thing which you felt, oh, wow, I mean, at least for this one reason, I'm going to encourage parents who I know to read this book. So what is that one factor?
So, what I've loved about the book was two aspects. I found it very timely. It was almost like, oh, this is what I would want to say if I were to say this, right? So you kind of pick those on. The second, I think the part where you talk about this ability to start thinking career at this stage, right? And at this stage of as a teenager, to be able to start thinking about the skills, thinking about what might be the kind of areas that I want to start sort of developing myself. And I think in the world, if I were to second guess, and I'm just like anyone else in this same space, the world that I see ahead for the youngsters is far more complex. There are far more moving parts, and the essence of what is needed to survive in these very choppy, very demanding environment is the ability to pick different skills at different times. And if I were to sort of connect back with this, I always thought of it as a professional issue, but I can see where you're going with it. Right, it makes sense to do now. Is that the ability to change and alter skills every 2 to 3 years is become critical to survive in the professional world today, right? There is a term we call half-life of a skill. It used to be 18 years. That means one skill. If you are a project manager, that skill of a project manager, the double click of what are the things you got to do, would be valid for over 15 years. This was 20 years ago. Okay. Today, it's just valid for 3.5 years, right? And it's coming down as we speak, which means in 3.5 years, the same project manager title has different skill sets under it, right? So what, and with the whole Gen AI and a very connected world, multiple exposure, work becoming more more gig oriented. It's going to become like that slowly. This orientation to build skills, orientation to figure out, connecting to your passion, going and picking skills. That's the tangible piece. And I think to me that clarion call was very, very interesting. Initially, I was sort of surprised when I said, "No, makes sense what you're saying. Makes sense that it should happen now." So I like that about that Sugi and Prasad.
Thank you so much, Monish. And
I have one question for Monish. I give you a time machine and I would ask you to rewind your past and change one career decision which you feel is incorrect today. What would that be, Monish?
And
Is it my own?
Yeah,
during
I'm giving you a
teenage
time
years,
machine. During your teenage years.
Oh, yeah, that's an easy one. I've thought about it. I was, yeah, as a teenager, I was exceedingly, uh, I used to enjoy being with music and films. I thought I was good at it as well. In my early careers, even before I joined my MBA, because my dad felt it was the right thing, and I also kind of didn't find confidence. I worked 2 years in the media, making documentaries and stuff like that. But I didn't have courage to follow up on it. I was very young. I wasn't very confident. But looking back, I would have loved to try. But you know what? I don't think it's the end of it. I am keen to go back. Not, I don't think I can act or do any of that. But connect what I know with what I do, with those those passion and that skill, and see what new comes up. So let's see. That's my desire at some point.
That was
Yeah.
nice. Thank you.
Great. So I think we
Lovely.
are done with all the questions, Monish. Thank you so much for joining and
Thank you. Thanks.
interacting with us. It was great. And as I said, you have been encouraging us since we embarked on this journey. Even one small message from you means a lot to us. And you have been doing that very often, which is where we thought, okay, it would be really great to have you in this interaction. So thank you so much. And we'd love
Thank you.
to keep getting inspired by you and basically touch some of your footsteps as well.
No, it's mutual, my friend, and I must say I've always admired you, Prasad. I've worked with you. I've always looked at you as a role model of what leaders ought to be. So I'm so delighted that Sugi and you have embarked on this. It's such a meaningful and relevant conversation today. I don't think it's talked about enough in the way that you're talking about. So I'm really, really proud of you. And thank you for inviting me. This is so special.
Our
I had
pleasure.
to make it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Monish.
Take care. Thank you. All the best.
So that was an interesting conversation, and I'm sure all of you would have enjoyed it because it brings in different perspectives, like not just teenagers, it's also about what the corporate leaders are going through and how some of those they could have avoided by doing the right things during their teenage years. So therefore, it was a wonderful conversation. Now, should we pick some questions?
Yeah, we have some questions in the chat. So there have been close to 5 questions, I suppose. We can
Okay, let's pick one question now and then
we can scroll further.
just give us a minute. We are finding the question.
Yes, please talk about. So this question is from Yuvraj. So it's please talk about what all you have attempted to cover in the book. Yes. So that was something we as well had in our agenda to tell you. So there are 3 interesting things that we have covered in the book. The first is we actually have shifted the meaning of the word career, because career is not about the present, it's about the future. So having studied enough, so we have come up with new terminologies and new methodologies and concepts like career portfolio, what is parenting analytics, what is inherited passion, and so many other stuff. So that is one interesting thing about the book. The second one is we have shared our personal stories and how things did not go well in our life because of a mistake in a career, or the career not going well impacting our personal lives. And the third is we have introduced 2 fictional characters, Ram and Sam, in the book. So both of them parallelly make career decisions in life, and we have projected how each one's career decisions leads to consequences in their own lives. So which is right to, so in order to distinguish each easily which is right and which is wrong, we have 2 fictional characters in the book. And yes, I'll add one more. The fourth is So this is not a book of theory or facts or some concepts or anything like that. So this is a handbook, a guidebook, or a book for reference whenever a parent thinks, yes, now it's time for me to guide my child, my teenager, on his career decisions or on the future. What should I do? Then yes, this book can come for your rescue. So this is all about a DIY, do it yourself. So what you need to do, where you need to guide, what are all essential for guiding your teenager, navigating them for the future and things like that. So this is something which is all about the interesting things that we have covered in the book.
Yeah. So one thing I would like to add is, though we have said this book is for parents of teenagers, but because it's written in a story format, because it's written with the exact steps which teenagers should follow along with their parents, teenagers can very well read this book. So if you want to change the mindset of your teenager, or if they have some kind of fear towards career planning, this book could be a starting point where you can just ask them to read to help them realize what are some of the things that they should not be doing in their career choices. And when it goes to the DIY section, which is do-it-yourself section, you can work with your teenager to figure out their career choices. So therefore, that's why we call this book as unique. Basis our research, a combination of all these things is not available in one book. So therefore, it's going to be definitely valuable and a unique one for you. So now we'll move on to the next section, which is we have been talking about this book, this how we help teenagers. So what we actually do. So I want to take 3-4 minutes to explain what we actually do. Yeah. So career planning for teenagers is not something new that we came up with. It has been on like for years. But what's happening in the market and what's happening recently is that when you go for any career counseling, there will be an automated tool where the teenagers will be asked to fill the questionnaire. And this is just an online tool that they will have to do. Basis that reports, automated reports are generated, and which will tell, okay, this is your top 3 suitable choices are engineering, law, and then research. So, and the teenagers are not even able to relate to what does these 3 really mean. Like one is engineering, the other is law, and the other is research. Or sometimes they're not able to understand what next. Okay, I know engineering, but engineering has so many options. So what do I do in engineering? So that is the kind of report we get. And basis that there will be a consultation in which some service providers go one more level depth, where they talk about some career options, and basis that they develop an action plan. But this is not actually helping teenagers and parents because it's at a very high level. It's not giving the right kind of information for them to take actions, but not giving the right kind of information for them to be excited about their career journey. It's just a piece of information that they get and they decide, yes, science or commerce or what, and that's it. It's not motivating them to look forward to their career journey. And that is where we actually wanted to shift that game completely. And what only we do is what we call the mindful career parenting framework. So here, primarily, we focus on 3 things. One is first is career discovery, where the teenager should know about themselves. At the same time, they should need to know about all the professional streams. So what happens today, and the reason for teenagers keep changing their professions is or choices is primarily because they don't know all of them in one go. One day, someone would talk about, let's say, fashion technology, and they would get excited about it because they don't know what else is available. The second day, someone would talk about entrepreneurship, and they see the kind of lifestyle, and then they get excited about it. So therefore, nowhere in the market or in the education system, teenagers are given an exposure to all the professional streams, which is something we are trying to address. So therefore, the first stage is helping them understand more about themselves and what are all the options available and shortlist the initial preference. And that will give an idea whether it's science or commerce or humanities. So that kind of clarity will be achieved. And the unique thing that we do is we also engage with parents in this journey. So when we do that, understand the teenager, what happens typically in the market is a teenager fills a survey and the report is generated. But we can't expect teenagers to be giving the right responses, or they may have some recency effect. So we work with parents as well in that stage and validate the interests, preferences, and abilities, and then move to the next stage. So that's our first step. Once we have that, then we go into career selection, where within those chosen profession streams, we deep dive into different career options. For example, if you take fashion technology, there are close to 20 different career options within fashion technology. You could be a merchandise buyer, or you could be an illustrator or pattern maker. There are many things. So we give that exposure to a teenager who expressed interest in fashion technology. And we also give them exposure of what's going to happen in the future. As Suganya mentioned, it's all about future, 10 years from now or 15 years from now. So depending on what's covered there or what's happening, we will share that and then help them to shortlist the specific career options. Then we move to the third step, which is helping them evaluate those options that they chose, validate them. So we try to give them exposure. They will open an account in LinkedIn. They will follow the people in LinkedIn who are in those professions. They will also read about that in the Google newsfeed and all those things. So they try to understand a little more about the real-time scenarios of those professions, and they validate their choices. As a next step, we help them to go little futuristic and design their career portfolio by looking at their skills, which Mohnish mentioned. We also mentioned that having different things so that they're able to navigate the pace at which the job market is evolving. And finally, develop an action plan, which is what colleges, what courses would suit them. So that's primarily what we do. And we do one-on-one mentoring for teenagers. We also do workshops for parents who wants to understand this approach in detail. We do Career Discovery Lab, which is a 9-day workshop primarily focusing on teenagers to understand about themselves and the professions, which is just the stage 1. Then we also help teenagers on their mindset if some of them are facing some challenges with that. And we also deliver sessions for students in schools. So these are all the services that we do. And so far, Touchwood, all the parents that we have worked with saw a lot of value in our services, as you see on the screen. But I always believe in hearing the stories, hearing the experiences. So just showing this, I would not, if I'm in your shoes, I would not be able to connect with. So we have some of our parents here who we work with. So we will invite them to share a couple of lines about their experiences, about how they found our approach unique. So shall we invite some of them?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so I'll stop sharing. So we have Sama here. So hi, Sama.
Hi, good evening.
Yes. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining. I know your time zone is very different, and still you took time to join. Thank you so much. We just want to hear
It's my pleasure.
your experience. You attended the workshop with us, and you had gone through
Yes,
the approach that what we spoke. And you also, during the workshop, implemented some of those for your son. So just want to hear
yes,
your
exactly.
experience.
First of all, I would like to send my regards to thank you and your wife and your family. And also, I want to send my regards from my country, from Syria to Indian nation. I appreciate Indian people a lot. Thanks a lot for that informative workshop that I attended with you. As I told you, I have my son. He is now 16 years old. Options are a lot around us. Which career we need to help them? The challenges are a lot during this time. Life is becoming more difficult. So I believe that it's my duty to guide them, to help them. As I said in the video, it's how. It's very difficult. There are hundreds of careers that are available. Which one is best for him? And it's not an easy decision. Okay, today I will be in this college. Next day I will transfer to another college. Oh no, I don't like it. I will go to other one. No, it doesn't work like that. Once you decided, once you choose which career would you like, you have. It's not easy. You can switch, but it's very difficult. So why to put this like difficulties from the beginning? Why we don't help them? It's very hard, as you mentioned at the beginning of this workshop, that today he wants medicine, tomorrow he wants to move to another career, then she wants to choose fashion, then it's very hard. So through like many, you sent for me like tests to this, it will help me even as a mother. I don't know what, maybe I think that he likes this, but deep inside, maybe this is not his interest. Maybe he will not excel in this career. So there were many tests that it will help me to guide him. So for sure, he is not for design. For sure, like there are a lot of questions, there are a lot of options that will help me. Yani, it helped me a lot to how I can discover what he is interested in, or even it spotlights not even for me but even for him, like through, okay, you know, there is this career, there is this field, there is the IT field, there is fashion field, there is the humanities. Yani, it helps, it guides. You need sometimes, even how much I am 43 years old, but even in this situation I need help, and really you provided that for me. We need someone to help us, to guide us, to do what is right for our children. As your wife said, that during like her parents, they help her in education, but it wasn't to choose the right what was for her. So she struggled through shifting from one company to other company to other company. But you know, we need, yani, our kids, our children, they are everything for us. They are our beloved. So all of us, this is in all nations, in all religions, in all humans, that our kids, we want them to have a better future. We want to make this world a better place. So it started from the individual person. It started from one. And if the one is successful, his family will be successful, the society will be successful. I really appreciate your work. I really appreciate how much, because I am a teacher and I know how every single PowerPoint slide, it needs work. I know how much you are doing work, you are doing research. It's not easy to collect all this field, all these careers, like the personalities, the test. I really appreciate how much work it needs to be done. So may God bless you. I wish the best future for your child and for everybody on this universe. Thank you very much. And I am looking forward to continue listening and hearing from you. My son, he has 2 more years to graduate from high school. I need to keep up with you, inshallah, to reach for the best decision. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I really appreciate your work.
Thank you so much, Sama. Thank you.
You are mostly
And,
welcome.
happy to like continue to work and guide your son. So thank you so
Inshallah.
much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
So now we will move to another parent who is currently working with us, Kyle. She is on the line as well. And we are working with her and to help her find the right career choices for her son. So hi, Kyle.
Hi, Sugi and Prasad. Congratulations, first of all.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So the same question to you. And we have been, I mean, we started to work recently and then we are still, the process is underway, but there have been some quick wins and we were able to understand a little more about your son and what are some of the preferences he had. So from your experience so far, how you find this process, our framework to be different and helpful?
It looks like after listening to all the parents, right? It's just one problem, but multiple choice answers, like, you know, which one we'll have to choose. Because the problem is the same, right? Like my son started with the same thing. He wanted to become a pilot and then he wanted to become a chef. And then he was like, I want to now become an actor. So he started building muscles and all those things. So it was like, we couldn't cope up with what he wanted to do, actually. That's a big challenge. But then, yeah, luckily, I got introduced to you two, right? Like, and that's when we wanted to put Vishnu. So maybe for the other parents, my son is Vishnu, and he's just he just started with his +2 classes now. And the problem or the challenge that we were facing was like he chose commerce stream in +1, but then we were not very sure, like, you know, why he chose that, because we didn't want to force, as we already discussed with you, Prasad, right? Like, but then I'm also a commerce student, so that's not a big deal. But then he scored fine. Somehow we felt like the decision was made because of his friends, or like, you know, he thought maybe that is the easiest one for him to choose and then carry on. But that logic was not, you know, very satisfying for us. That's the main issue that we faced. And we didn't want to force him. and we didn't want him to make a bad decision. And also, we are also working with corporate, and then I'm into recruitment. So whenever you recruit somebody, the freshers coming and saying, okay, I chose B because my parents forced me to do this, right? Like, I'm not interested in what I'm doing. Or there are kids like, who start with some graduation and then they want to discontinue their journey again, choose another stream. So that was making me much more scary, like, because I didn't want him to waste a couple of years if he's not interested in something. So all these challenges, I thought, okay, putting him with you was a big relief for both of us. That I should say thanks to you. But until now, I think Vishnu has been coping up really well, because it was a little difficult for me to convince him, right? It was difficult to convince myself also, but then I got really impressed when you did the onboarding session and you took me through the classes that you will be taking. And then I was like, okay, fine. I went back and convinced him. But after a couple of classes, now I see like, he's like much more interested, and he's wanting to finish the session, and he has much more clarity. Even when he started the session, he was clouded by his own judgments. He had a couple of colleges, he had a couple of streams. We know only two, right? One was CA or the other one was MBA. But getting to know all these streams, he's like now enlightened, kind of. Today also I had a chat with him because he's in Trivandrum and I'm working from Bangalore. So he was like, no, it's going fine. Last week also, he took me through these couple of streams and I'm getting much more clarity. And as a personality, he has very high regards for you, I should say, because he's very picky about his teachers. Like, so when he talks about no, he's very patient, it's very clear. And even if I have some questions, I'm able to clarify with him and he gives me much more details. So that way, I really think you're doing an awesome job, Prasad. Like, it's not so easy to convince my son to sit in a session and listen to somebody telling him about stuff. So that's a really great job. Again, I have to stress that word, like, that relief that I have now, because we have enabled him with all the knowledge that he has to acquire. And now decision is his. We don't want to choose for him, or we don't want him to feel guilty at a later stage, like, okay, I made a wrong choice or whatever it is. That way we are very happy. And thanks to both of you. And once again, congratulations.
Thank you so much, Kyle. And I still remember the first session that I had with him. He was little like very silent, observing what I'm going to say and all those things. But now, like, he pings me on WhatsApp and then he says, okay, can we have this session now, or can we have? So actually, it was very good to see how he's also transforming, and the mindset sessions are going to like come soon. So it's going to be really a wonderful journey for him as well. Thank you so much for trusting us, and thank you so much for sharing your experience with all the parents here and also who are watching this on live. So thank you.
I just wanted to add about the parent session that you had also, because that was like really good, like, for us to get in alignment. Okay, this is what our son is like, this is what his interest is, this is what his passion is. That was kind of a validation for us, like, okay, fine, we are doing the right thing.
Yeah. So the session, just for the benefit of others, the session she's talking about is after we do certain activities to know the teenagers. As I said, we have a session with parents to validate what is, how accurately they know about themselves. And so many times it's also new insights for the parents about their teenagers. So that's the session Kyle is talking about. Thank you so much, Kyle, for it's been a lovely experience working with you, and still a journey to go together. So thank you so much for your trust on us. Yeah, fine. So now we'll move on to one more parent, and here, actually, I'll invite Jairaj to join us. And in his case, the teenager, more than career, we need to work on the mindset. So the major challenge was on the mindset, and on the there were certain fundamental issues because of certain history. So therefore, I would like to invite. Hi, Jairaj. Are you driving?
Hi, sir.
Any chance?
No, I was driving. Now I am set.
Okay, please, safety is first in case if you're.
Yeah, I understand. I know you will ask this question very first.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
So just want to understand your experience working
Yeah,
and what
I,
did you see in Abhishek, because it was more of a mindset challenge. So yeah, share your
of
experience.
course, sir. Actually, the very first interaction was it was it was very memorable, you know. Actually, I was very frustrated right after that COVID break. No, that the kids used to skip the classes continuously for years together, and they were completely blank. Like he for Abhishek's case, he was almost he gone back to LKG level, you know, academically as well as on the mind perspective also. He has gone to that level. So we were worrying like a lot. So after the session, I would say that the shift, no, it was like he is advising others regarding like when you see the problems and all, no, when parents are worrying about the problems, he is telling that how to handle this. So that much clarity he has on the mindset front. On the academically also, you will not believe that earlier he used to he was in the last 10 or you know, now he has come above average. So that is a very drastic improvement, because when the mindset changes, everything can be changed, right? So that is getting proved here in Abhishek's case. So very happy, sir. Even last week also when I had a call with him, he used to tell I'm sending that daily assignments and all to Prasad sir, and he has very high regards for you, sir, actually. And this is such a wonderful exercise that you are doing. You told about the impact in your speech in the beginning. This is one kind of collective impact action which we are doing, which has a, you know, on the collective impact metrics. When we talk, it has more impact on the society than any other field of job anyone is doing. So continue this, sir. I wish all the best for your book to be a grand success, and also to you for achieving your vision, like 22 million parents. So it's not a very less number. It's a very great thing, and you are all the very best, sir, for your future and your this thing.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you so much
Jairaj,
for
and
giving opportunity.
thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your experience. And I have to tell, like, after going through that morning transformation practices, he still sends me message on WhatsApp every day. Like, I've done this practice, and before going to science, like, I think when he had exams recently, like, he sent me a message the previous night, like, sir, I'm feeling little nervous, what to do. So then I had to
Okay.
tell him, don't worry, and all these things. So therefore, I can see the intention and how he has transformed from mindset perspective. So really great to see that. So thank you so much. I know you're driving, so take care of that. I can see someone is actually responding to you. So thank you so much. And
No, 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 no. Okay, okay, sir. Thank you so much. We'll
thank you.
connect. Thank you.
Great. So now we have heard from parents. Anyone else who have worked with us on the call who would like to share? Let me just check. I don't want to miss. I don't think. Okay, fine. I think we have covered. So how it was to hear from all the parents who are on the call or who are watching us on live. Like, isn't it exciting? Isn't it very impactful?
We should open up the chat to see what they're getting.
Yes. So what we have in our book is exactly what we follow to work with these teenagers. So it's not just a theory. It's not just certain concepts. We have given step-by-step guide of what we do with these teenagers, be it mindset, character, or career clarity. So therefore, if you're really keen, let's get into some action.
Yes.
So we have our book live on Amazon, which went live today. So we would like to show, and we will share the link here as well. Please go ahead, and if you're really able to relate to what we discussed, what parents shared, and all these things, definitely it's going to be a read that you will find it valuable. So we will share that here. Please go ahead and then book your copy. So I have put it on the chat box. And for people who are on live stream, you can go and search in Amazon. So I can also show you that. Just one second. Yeah, so if you go to Amazon, you have a book there, You and Your Teen's Career Makeover. So you can see our names there. from author's perspective. So you can go and whichever version you want. So it's available on Kindle as well as paperback. So whichever version you would prefer, you can book your copy. And it's not just something that will help your son or your daughter, your teenager. It's, as we said earlier, this book is going to shift your generations to come. So when your son or your teenager is able to make the career choice consciously, they will pass on those principles to their children. And they will pass on those principles to their children. And therefore, it's a shift that you're not making just for your teenagers, you're making the shift for your family, your generation to come. And this is definitely going to help you to leave a legacy in your family. So with that, we want to move to gratitude.
Yes. But before that, we have a surprise, right? Don't we?
Yes. So we'll go to the. We have already covered that. Okay, so let's come to the surprise. Whoever has taken this snapshot, either here online or to live stream, what we have for you is use the image to post it on your social media handles along with the Amazon link, the link to book the book, and your understanding or your key takeaways from this session. So primarily the photo, your key takeaways from the session, and the Amazon link on your social media handles, and tag us in that. So the best shares, which we feel will definitely get a free copy of our book, that too author's signed copy. Definitely it's going to be really helpful. In case if you're not a social media person, I know some of you do not prefer to go to social media, you can share this image, your takeaways from the session and the Amazon link with your contacts via WhatsApp and share the screenshot with us. And whoever, I mean, the best shares from that channel as well, we will definitely get in touch with you and share a free copy of our signed book. So that's going to be actually I revealed the surprise. So that's the surprise that we had for you. So with that, I will not take further time. We'll just move to the gratitude part. Whatever we said so far wouldn't have been possible without some of you on the call. Some of you were not able to join, but still So the first thing, sorry. So the first thing on some of the mentors who actually inspired us and have helped us to do this. So this journey was not an easy journey for us because doing a job and also taking care of our daughter who's sitting right next to us, and also doing this, working with teenagers, parallelly writing books. It's definitely not an easy journey. But there are certain people who actually equipped us for that, who actually helped us transform our mindset, actually came with the right tools, right guidance. In fact, like Dave, who you see on the left, he is the one who made me realize that first you need to shift your mindset, your self-image before you start doing anything. And when I discussed with parents and teenagers, that was a major problem as well. So that's where we started off framing this concept and framework. But for our journey, the foundation was led by Dave. So gratitude to him. And Fatah Khan, who's here, he is the one who helped us to progress on this journey. So we used to have these morning sessions for book writing. So you used to wake up at 6 a.m. and we used to connect together and we will write the book. And whatever questions that we have, he will guide us and all those things. So that session was actually facilitated by Fatah and Meha, who's on the other photo here. So they helped us throughout this journey. In fact, whenever we had questions about our title, our book cover, or some of the aspects around book, they helped us. And at this stage, I also want to thank Penman Publications, who helped us with putting everything from our thoughts to a form. This book was actually made to this form with the help of the designers, with the help of the publication team. So I would also like to thank Penman Publications and the founder Tarun Singh for extending all the support to us and making this dream possible for us. You want to have?
Yes. So we also want to thank Megha. So Megha ma'am. So whenever we were stuck, whenever we were like we were not able to convert the thoughts that we had or the experiences that we want to share into words, she was actually helping us out, and that's one thing. So last year, around the same day, around the same month, we were dreaming on this big day, and finally we made it happen. So it is a dream come true moment for us, and it had happened with the help of these mentors who guided us, who navigated us in the right way. We are much more. Gratitude is a smaller word. We are feeling much more than that.
Got it. So we also want to move and express our gratitude to our editor. She joined for some time, but I'm not sure if she is on the call now. She dropped off. Yeah. So actually, what happened when we put the draft first, we had just put our thoughts and everything, and we reached somewhere close to 45,000 words. And Sugani always used to pull my leg, like you're repeating the points again and again. You have said already the same point in chapter 1. Now you're repeating in chapter 3. And I used to say, no, this point is important.
So his thought was, this point is important, so it has to be told over and over. And that's when we ended up with 45,000 words, which was too much of a big book.
Yeah. So then we were like, okay, then now we will definitely need the help of our editor. So when we went to her, she graciously accepted our request. She went through word by word. And when we received the first edited copy, it was 35,000. She literally like reduced close to 10,000 words for the good things, actually. And when I saw the edited version, I was like, what? 1/4 of the book is not there. And then we went and read all
My
the
job was
comments.
made easy.
So always Suvina used to tell, like, I have to thank Shravanti because had it been a problem that we had to solve between us, it would have been a very difficult process. She made it easy for us. And when I went through all the comments, I realized, okay, this is repetition. And in fact, she made me realize that, see, readers understand, like, it's not that they would not know if some point is shared somewhere, and if it really goes into their mind, they would definitely, be able to relate to it. So with her help, even Monish mentioned that the book was light, quick read, and that was possible only because of her. So we would like to take this moment to thank Shravanti. So now we will move to the yeah. So our heartfelt gratitude to our guests. Our heartfelt gratitude to all our guests and speakers today, all the parents who took time basically to share their experiences. It really means a lot. Where they helped us a lot, where they motivated us and encouraged us to do this. So it's a great emotion to actually tell how much support and love we received as we took this journey. And both of us will have to thank our daughter who has been supporting us on this journey. Like even for this 1 hour, though she is with us, she didn't disturb much. So feeling really grateful with all the blessings and all the support. So thank you so much. With that, we actually wanted to open the floor if any one of you would like to share anything. So with this, we have come to the end of the session, but I just want to open the floor and hear if any of you would like to share anything with us or with the forum. I know we have got few questions. Considering the time, we have noted those questions. I will either try to respond that through my content on social media handles, or I will reach out to you and share those responses as well. But I'm definitely going to be answering them. Need not feel bad that your questions weren't answered. I don't want to keep this for too long, but that's also an opportunity for you to follow us on our social media. We keep sharing a lot of content, lot of insights to help teenagers. So with that, I'll stop sharing, opening the forum for anyone who would like to share anything. If you want to share anything, please raise your hand. Okay. So if Shantosh, yes.
Hi, Sugi and Prasad.
Sorry, you were.
Am I audible?
Yes, Santosh, you're audible. I'm
Hi.
just trying to add you. Yes, you're audible. Please go ahead.
Nice. We recently met in the breakthrough event. So what I want to express is I got to know a little bit about the context, all those stuffs, but surely I will buy and go through the book to understand things better because my kid now he's doing 8th to 9th standard. He's going to start. So right now his interest is in it's similar to my profession, like IT job. But I don't think IT job is the only option in this world. So when you showed the framework, I was impressed that okay, there are so many streams that he should also be aware from now, so that he can take a good decision on his journey. That is one thing. Coming back to my experience in the past, when I was around less than 10 years or something, I was aiming as I want to become as a collector. I want to write IAS on these things. Then at one stage, my mind switched to I want to become a boxer. Like that. Then later on, it was changing and changing. And when I was doing 8th standard with my friend, myself and my friend, we decided that, okay, let's take commerce, let's do CA. We both together, we will become a chartered accountant. This is what we decided when we were doing 8th standard. We were well focused. 8th, 9th, 10th, we were again and again talking about the same thing. But the decision has changed by my parents. Okay, my father said commerce is not a right thing to do. You take only science because my elder brother he took commerce and his directions were different. But my dad was a physics professor, so he said science is the right thing. So you take that choice. Then I was forced into science. My friend continued his journey and then he became a chartered accountant. We are still in touch. He's in Chennai, I'm in Bangalore. He did CA, I did MCA. So that is the thing. But what I feel is, even though I was forced to take science as a subject by my dad, what I felt is now, after these much of years of experience, I feel that on that day he pushed me to take science. That push is really seems to be good. Through that, I got a lot of challenges in learning because without interest, I learned this science part. But luckily, my favorite subject was math, so I was able to take my own decisions after that. So what I'm coming to say is in our life, everything is experience. Everything what we learn is experience. So even our kids, our next generation also should come across all the experiences, all the challenges, so that they can build the confidence in their mind and they can live without relying on any others. They can live on themselves. They can experience in taking decisions, making decisions. All those things will become a good habit, is what I feel. So yes, nothing is like permanent. Things will keep changing at each stage in our life. Things are changing. So it is totally dynamic. So yeah, anyhow, thanks for giving me an opportunity to talk.
Thanks, Santosh. And I completely agree with you. It's a very dynamic and it's going to be even more dynamic in the future. With a lot
Right.
of things happening, like AI coming, and they're saying one day, like few jobs will not be there. And even there was a research which said, like World Economic Forum, which said that in another 5 years, close to 60% of the jobs that we have may not exist. So these are maybe little alarming statements, but
Yeah.
we are moving in the direction. Therefore, it's going to become even more dynamic. And that's the reason we need to have
Obviously.
few options to choose and navigate our career. I mean, just focusing on one may have worked for many of us, but it's not going to work for teenagers in the future.
Obviously. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Great share.
Yeah,
Thank you so much
thanks.
for sharing
Thanks
your
for all
story.
this.
And thank you.
Take care. Bye.
So we'll move on to Yuvraj.
Okay, thanks. So first of all, congratulations, Sugi and Prasad.
Thank you. Thank you, Yuvraj.
Yeah, it is truly a dream come true, and I must appreciate and I know your commitment because when we met in August in Passion Prayer Summit, I remember both of you were there with your support. So that actually represents the kind of commitment you brought to the table. Coming on this subject, I think it's a very interesting topic you have picked up. In fact, uh, I would say we are blessed generation. That in the sense we're standing on the shoulders of our parents, and that is where keeping that in mind. In fact, when I put my kids were going in school, I live in Gurgaon in Delhi, and though it represents kind of represents all Fortune companies are here, so variety of schools. I realize that though we are our generation knows things, but schools were still representing the traditional mindset. Though they are all flashy buildings and things, they are still talking about the same things you talked about. And fortunately, I was able to get one school where I put my kids so that they can explore their journey. So they are not traditional school that they'll prepare them for IITs or doctors. So they will be able to at least explore what they want to do. But leaving like that is not enough. And my kid is in fifth class now, and he's a flavor of both. Very good in artistic things, real good, I would say, and very good in technical at his age. So we know that, and that is where, in fact, if you remember, I had a short conversation with you as well, and with my seniors here in my organization as well. Kids are now in 10th or 12th. I realize still the same three streams are there: arts, commerce, and the same thing. Nothing has changed. So what Prasad has said, Santosh, I think Santosh has said, I totally go with him that in future, I think we need to prepare our kids to navigate those turbulent times in terms of they should be able to learn to unlearn in terms of navigate and carve out their own journeys. And need not to be in a jobs kind of a like where they're working for someone, rather prepared for a gig economy like you started your journey. And so that is where my question was also in the book, that very difficult topic you have chosen, how to put it in the book, because book is maybe it will trigger those interests, those questions. Maybe we'll be needing handholding because you have pulled yourself into a situation where you have to solve so many people problem. You will get a clue. You will get some visibility. What is ahead of the time? How we should prepare our kids. So very much so many open questions, and so congratulations for that. And maybe certainly I'll need to work with you because there is someone who's at least very neutrally looking into. Because when I ask my seniors in terms of people who are ahead of time, that how do schools are preparing kids for the same, they said there will be counseling session at 8th grade or 10th grade or 12th grade, and those counseling sessions will just take you to particular universities and things. That is not what I'm looking for. I want them to be, as Monish rightly said, able to hear that voice. Their journey should not be that I want to get into an IT stream or an IIT or but what I really wanted to do. So I need not to worried about which our generation has. So thank you very much, and best wishes for a great journey ahead.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Yuvraj, and thanks for sharing your experience and what you're trying to do for your son. So, just one thing I want to call out is it's gaining a lot of importance among the schools as well because parents are raising this point. But is school designed to provide this kind of clarity? Not at the moment. They are more focused on the structure is such that I'm not blaming the schools, but the structure is such that they are more focused on the academic syllabus. And this may be like few counseling sessions, one here and there. Again, they have the volume of students that they have. They will not be able to give that kind of personalized thing. So therefore, still it's an unsolved problem among the schools, I would say. And that's where we thought we need to do this. But thanks for bringing that point. And thanks for sharing your story. And we will definitely be in touch. I'll get in touch with you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we have Ashok, yes, and just. Can you unmute? Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. First of all,
Many congratulations to both of you for launching your book.
Thank you.
Is my voice is audible?
Yes, it is audible.
Yeah, and thanks for inviting me for this your book launch.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're very rightly mentioned by Yuvraj and many other speakers also. But I recall the incident when I was looking for my kids' schooling, initial days of schooling. So I was very curious to know about what is his interest initially, so that I can put him into the right school and right stream. And it is since my child was around 2 years old, a play school. I kept him for 2 or 3 years and in the schools. And initially, I asked teachers, where is his interest, what he loves, which games he would like to play. And every time the response was, no, this is average like other children. Every time when I asked to the teachers, they said it's very. And since I'm from the engineering background, I do a lot of work at my home also, right? Building some new projects and certain things. So his curiosity is also developed. So I know by interest he is going to become an engineer, but I don't want to force him to choose this profession. So I was looking for that, and not only this, the teachers who are giving formal education are not actually paying attention what is their interest, right? And I would not blame them. There are so many students in every classroom, and they get just half an hour for each period to each different section. So it is difficult for them also. But as a parents, we should know what is the need of our child and what are the resources they would be required from since childhood to the different age groups. Now, my son is going to become an entry into a teenager, so his interest is a little bit changing, but he's more about his imagination is very high. Means what I was thinking at that age, he's thinking beyond that. So sometimes I'm really feeling proud of that. Whatever I thought, maybe having a same background from the technical things, but I really, since I worked in jobs, so I saw the pressure on that side also. I don't want him to hide out from those things because that is a polishing environment which keep a lot of learnings to children. But apart from that, one more thing I'd just like to add: your this kind of initiative will really help a lot of people, a lot of students, right? I know many of the people, the students I interviewed, I got opportunity to interview. When I interview in the screening test, people, 99% people said the profession which they choose is by force, not by their interest. They don't have a passion to it, right? When they get into a job and they do not feel courage or the proud factor doing the jobs, which ultimately landing into a situation where they does not feel a fulfillment and they always keep jumping from one profession to another, and it happens very frequently in initial days of career, and time is lost a lot in this entire jumping process from one interest to another interest. So your program and mentoring will your book will really help so many students in the coming days. Once again, I'd like to say thanks to both of you for and many congratulations for your book.
Thank you so much, and thank you for sharing your personal experience as well. Thank you so much. So now I will. Hi, Sujata.
Hi.
Hi, good evening. How are you?
Good evening. Yeah, I'm doing good. Congratulations for the book launch. And I'm really proud of the distance or the miles which you have reached. And you have successfully, I could see the lot of testimonials from the parents. And also, you have put together this book, which is a practical guide for guiding the teenagers. So I wish I had a teenager daughter to really apply this, but then, or it could have even helped my career also, right? If had this been there so many years back. Yeah. So, but yes, this is going to really help the future generations, and so all the best, and keep rocking in this job.
Thank you so much, Sujata. And I know, so you were my accountability partner at one point, and we were guiding each other and progressing. So thank you so much for all the help, and thanks for sharing your wishes. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Great. So with that, I think there are no more hands raised. So thank you all for staying so long. Thank you so much. And yes, actually, our daughter wanted the attention. She couldn't tolerate for more than an hour. So Suganya had to leave and take care of her. But thank you so much. And all the people who are on the live, thank you so much. If you really find this book to be really impactful basis, whatever has been shared, it's very clear. There's strong need, and all parents need some solution. So what we are doing here is offering you a solution which will work, and it's something that you can do it on your own. So therefore, go ahead, book your copy, and share your reviews, your feedback, your thoughts with us, so that we can still keep enhancing, keep learning, and we achieve our mission of impacting 22 million teenagers and guiding them to choose their career choices. So with that, we will draw this session to closure. Thank you so much. Wishing you all a great evening and a great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.